Welcome to lesson 8.6, the last lesson of grade 8. I can hear you cheering in the background. Well, today we're going to take a look and create and analyze tessellations, but we're not going to be tracing them. We're going to be doing it through the lens of transformations. So before we go too far in transformations, let's just take a look at a couple of review concepts that we're going to have to know. Okay? So what does it mean when we say that a shape tessellates? Well, a shape will cover a plane, but there's no overlaps and there's no gaps. Okay, what shapes always tessellate? These are the triangles and the quadrilaterals. The reason is triangles' interior angles are 180 degrees. Quadrilaterals, the interior angles, are 360. They can be divided into two triangles, which are exactly the same. So 180 and 180 gets you the 360 that a quadrilateral has. Okay, now what shapes do not tessellate? Well, there's many that don't tessellate. Regular pentagons don't tessellate. Okay, they can't go together. And regular octagons don't tessellate. Now, having said that, there are some pentagons and some octagons which are irregular, which will tessellate. So you've got to be careful. How can you tell if a shape tessellates? Well, I've talked about it a little bit, but this is in terms of their angles. The design cannot overlap or have gaps, and the interior angles must add up to be a multiple of 180 degrees. So let's take a look at an example. All right. The first example we're going to talk about is this one here, where I want you to take a look at the original. And we're going to ask you how you get from here to all of these different locations. Now, we're working with the transformations, which are our translations, which we know as slides from grade 4. We're looking at rotations, which are turns, and reflections, which are flips. Okay. Now, the first one I want to do is, if you look down here, it says, show how the original shape was transformed to shape A. So how did we get from here to there? And sketch the original shape. I'm going to lead you through this one, and then I'm going to get you to try to do some of them on your own. Okay, so what I've done is I have sketched the original shape here, but you can see that right here. Okay, now if you look back up here, I need to get from here to A. Now you notice I don't have to flip it. No reflections, no rotations. It's just a simple translation. I just have to move it. So in order to figure out how to get from here to here, we just have to figure out how many times things move. So you pick a corner, I'll choose this one, and I've got to get it to this location because that's where its matching corner would be. So I've got to go 1 right, 2 right, 3 right, 4 right. Now that gets me lined up vertically. 1 up, 2 up. So 4 right and 2 up. Now these can be in any type of an order. So here's what we have. I've got this one here, moves to here, and I put in my translation error. Okay? So here's your instructions. You have to draw this, and you got to tell me or sketch where the final one is. And you may have to do it twice. You may have to have 2 sketches. But I need you to take and give me the series of instructions by transformations to get from here to there. Moving on to the next one. Now, I want you now to do the original to shape B. So we now have to get this shape original here, and it's got to get to shape B. Well, you can pretty well see right now that I can do a translation, but that's not going to give me the shape of B, will it? So you're definitely going to have to do something besides just a translation. All right. I will give you a couple of seconds to try it. So sketch the original, and then try to figure out how to get this to B. You might be wiser to make sure you sketch down the middle so you can do them on both diagrams. So pause the recording and do that, please. Okay, well, the first thing I need to do is I have to get this so its orientation is going to be over top of B. All right, so I want it to be the same orientation. To do that, I'm going to take and I'm going to flip this left to right. All right, and I'm basically going to do a mirror line anywhere you want to go. All right, here's my mirror line. If I put the mirror line right here, then that would be a flip over to here. It can be other places too, right? Now that I've got this flipped, all right, this instruction to show me how to do this flip is you have to tell me where the mirror line is. Okay, so you're going to say a horizontal reflection across the mirror line. And then following the second one, now I've got to get from where it's reflected to, I've got to get to where B is. So it's got to move to here. Now to get from here to here, we're going to go down 1, down 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that will get me the original to here. It's down 2, left 4. Okay, so you can see now that I got my reflection, now it's down 2, boom, boom, and left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that will get me to the location that I want it to be. That will be exactly where B is. All right, now let's do C. Now, I need to transform A and get it to C. So sketch the original, and then I need you to do the instructions for transformations to get from the original to shape C. So pause the recording and do that. So I need to get from here to there. You notice I don't have to rotate. I don't have to do any type of reflection. It's just a straight translation from here to there. So it's very straightforward. You can see I'm going to go down 2, boom, boom, and then I'm going to go left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it'll move into the right location. Now, being a translation, I probably should have put in some translation arrow here, maybe from here to here or from here to here. Okay, so that's actually what should have happened. I should have a translation arrow to match my two corners, and there you are. There's my translation arrow. Right. So now that I've got that, moving on to the next slide. Now I want to know how to get from here, the original. I need to know how to get it to D. All right. All right. Give it that. So here's the original. I need to get it to D. Now you notice I cannot just do a translation, can I? It won't work. I've got to find some way to get this orientation, and then if you look at it, it goes over and down, so this is going to have to go over and down. So I need to do a reflection, and it's got to be a vertical reflection. All right? So I want you to see what you can do. All right? And also pause the recording and tell me the two translations you used to get from the original location to shape D. So to do this, first off, I have to have some sort of a reflection. Now what I did is pretty straightforward. I did a vertical reflection, and I did it across from here. You see the original, and I flipped it up. All right, I did a vertical reflection upwards, and then I got to there. That's what that shows you right there. A vertical reflection across the reflection line. Remember, you have to tell me it's a vertical reflection. You can't just say a reflection. I need to know which way is that working. Commonly, you'll have more than one reflection line on a drawing. If you do that, then you're going to have to make sure that you label these. So you may say a vertical reflection across reflection line, and you may put a letter here like H. Okay, and that'll tell me which reflection line you're working with. A vertical reflection line across reflection line H. So I say a vertical reflection line, a vertical reflection across the slate H. Now, once I've got to here, now I've got to move it so that it gets to here. Now this is a translation. So I'm sitting like this. I've got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So it's going to go over 4 and down 2. Now, here's my notes down here. I'll talk about that in a moment, but here's my reflection instructions. Translated down 2 and left 4. So this particular shape to D has two parts. It has to do a vertical reflection across the reflection line. Then translate down 2 and left 4. Now these could be in either order because it gets to the same place. Now the one thing I need you to understand is in all of these shapes that we moved around, right? The original one C. You notice how it actually is a perfect match, and this one here is a perfect match also. That's because these are what we call congruent. Now, it's still a perfect match for B and for D. It's just that they're flipped, and this one would be flipped horizontally, vertically, and this one here was flipped horizontally. So, but the one thing that never changed was the shape. the area of this. I mean, if you take a look at the area, you could work it all out. You could say it's 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 16 in here, and then 2, 4, 6, 8 here. So this is 24 squares. No matter where I put this, or what, no matter which one I look at, every one of these shapes is still 24 squares. That means that we have what's called a conservation of the area. It stays the same. Now, I'm going to be asking you about this on one of your tests, okay? So be aware of that. Now, another example. I've got this one here. It's got an original up in top left. It's also got A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And we're going to do the same thing. Now, I've already done one for you. So I want you now to tell me, how do you get the original shape to A? Right? Tell me how you're going to do it. So pause the recording and do that. You can do a little sketch over here on the right-hand side if you want. Okay, now that we've got that done, let's take a look at what I would do here. This is what I've got. First thing I did is I drew a reflection line on the angle here. Right? Now do that, and then I can take what's called an oblique or a angled diagonally, a diagonal reflection across the reflection line. And that will take this one and move it right to where A is. So here's my instructions. The original shape must do an oblique or a diagonal reflection across the reflection line. Now, because there's only one, I don't have to worry about labeling it. Here's your next one. Is there another way to get shape A into, the original into here? And I want you to think about that for a second, and if you can write it down, do so right now. So I'll give you a couple of seconds. Pause it and do it. Okay, this actually can spin. Rather than doing a reflection, right? I can't just move it because it won't have the right rotation, right orientation. But if I take and find the midpoint of this line right there, and I whip this around 180 degrees, then I would get this shape at A. So there is a rotation that you can do around the midpoint of this diagonal line. Now, your turn. Transformation has to be performed to get the original to shape D. All right, so here's my original. Need to get from here to here. So pause the recording and make that happen. Okay, so to get this to happen, I am going to be doing this. You can see right here. I'm going to do a reflection across this reflection line right there. And it's going to be a vertical reflection across this reflection line. And that will get that down to here. You can also do this, if you'd like, in 2 steps. You could translate it and then rotate it. You could flip it. Translate it and then flip it. You have to make a reflection, but I can do this in 1 step. All right? But you may have taken 2. There's nothing wrong with that. So here's my instructions that I would have to write down. In this movement, I have to draw a reflection line and then do a vertical reflection over the reflection line. Simple as that. What about shape, the original shape, to shape F? How do I get from here to shape F? I want you to pause the recording and do that. Okay, now, here we go. This one has got to get to here. Now that is if you look at it, the orientation is exactly the same as F. So I don't have to reflect it, and I don't have to rotate it, right? I can take the original right here, and I can just move it to there. So I need to find out, how do I get this to there? Well, I pick a corner. I'm going to use the bottom left corner, and I'm going to move it to the bottom left corner of the place I want to look to move it to. So I've got to get from here to here. Now, this grid is 5 by 5, each one of these boxes here, so that is 5, 10. So it's 10 down and 5, 10 right. There's your translation. Now I've got a big job for you. All right. Now the big job is I want you to create a tessellation using. Now I'm not sure if your teacher is going to ask you to do with this, but I need you to make the tessellation using pattern blocks. Now they don't have to be pattern blocks. If you want to take a piece of thick cardboard, you can do that too. All right. But you want to make something that you can trace, and it's got to be this. It's got to keep the same area so that we have our conservation of area being maintained. Now you don't have to copy it onto a grid. all right, you can just take and put it on a blank piece of paper. It's your choice. Now I need you to do what I did. Label the original one, right? And then I need you to carry out tessellations from this original location to shapes A, B, and C. Now these are going to be your new ones, your new locations, right? As I did previously on the pages up there. And I need you to write the instructions you used to create the tessellation image. All right, so just to go over that again, draw your original in the middle of your page. Use a transformation, a translation, reflection, or rotation, and move it to a new location for A, and write down what you did. Then take the original and move it to a new location called B. Tell me what you did. And again, same thing for C. So if you're not sure what's happened, you can wait and see how I did it. But I'm going to give everybody a chance to do it first. So pause your recording and give it a whirl. Here's what I did. You could see my original. My first A, to get from here to here, you could see I went 1, 2, 3. So this is a translate right. You notice I've still got my tessellation. Now, the original to B is just a reflection across this line here. So it's a vertical reflection across this, and I had this labeled K, but for some reason it disappeared. Right? And now, once that gets to here, that takes care of B. Now, to get from the original to C, it's a little bit more difficult. You have to take and move the original down to here, and that's going to be a translation. And my translation, I'm not sure what happened here, but for some reason my translation did not work out. So I'll just do a quick fix here. The translation from there down to here is 6 down and 3 right. So you can see it's going to come down there, and that's going to get to this corner right there. Once I have it in this location, I'm now going to do a reflection across this line. Now I had labeled this line as line L, and I had this one here labeled K. For some reason when I changed it from my documents into this format, it didn't actually quite make it. So here we go. Got this original down to here, and now I'm going to do a vertical reflection across the reflection line L, and that will move it up and put it where C is. So the summation of my, my transformations for A was translate right, 3. B, reflect vertically across the reflection line K. And for C, first I translated 6 down and 3 right. And then I reflected the image across vertical reflection line L. Now here's the thing, you're all going to have different things because you can't read my mind. So when you have yours, I need you to give it to a classmate if you can, and I need them to check it. Make sure that what you said you did was actually what you did. And you can check theirs while they're checking yours. If you guys have any difficulties or any types of differences of opinion, well, talk it out and try to figure out which one of you is correct. If you still can't figure it out, come talk to me. So complete the assignment and we will see you at